cookies are we missing today?
Oatmeal chocolate chip.
Oatmeal chocolate chip.
Yes.
Oh,
They're so good.
those sound
We
really
have-
good.
Right.
Mm.
Rub it in.
Swine.
Mm.
Ice.
Oh,
Do you know why they don't put ice in their drinks on marine bases?
Can you pull up
They
your
don't?
email and
No,
find
you
it
know
that
why?
way? Because he
guy
sent us
with
a,
recipe
he sent us a link.
I just don't want one that's a participant because then it backfeeds.
Oh,
Well, I can look.
that might be the
I can look up
participant
the-
one.
Recipe for ice.
oh, recipe. I thought you meant, it said
Recipe.
recipe and I thought recipe was
MacArthur Park.
so silly.
Someone left the cake out in the rain.
That's right. And I'll never have the recipe again.
Yeah, some of the most bizarre lyrics
I
in
love,
any
I
pop
love them.
song.
I just love those lyrics. They're just so cool.
You know, I think there's a substantial chance.
I would like to make an announcement
Okay,
Well, if he wasn't, he is now.
during the meeting or now?
right now, and it has nothing to do with DVR, but I am very sad. I might be the only Republican and conservative on this board. I don't know, but I might be pretty close to that. And Charlie Kirk was just shot and killed.
Yep.
And you've probably seen, if you're conservative, especially, you've probably seen some of his posts. He was an amazingly smart man and gave talks all over the country and college campuses, and somebody just shot him when he was speaking at a college campus in Utah. So I'm very sad. He was
He was only
an amazing
31.
individual, only 31.
Yeah, very sad.
Oh, boy. Oh, sure.
Okay.
Kathy, you're in both places.
How old was he?
31,
31.
small kids.
Oh, dear.
It's just a sad waste
It is sad.
Yeah.
of anybody
Very much so.
at this point.
I've never seen him before.
Nancy, where are you
I
now?
didn't know who he
In
was.
Oregon?
I knew him.
Hi,
My wife
Nancy.
likes his stuff.
Really?
I don't
Do
read
you have a
that much of it.
podcast
I
or
don't
something?
read it either.
Are we,
maybe
we're
she-
frozen on, the ones coming in on Zoom.
Well, some of them are frozen.
I'm
Nelly, are you
pretty
frozen?
warm right here.
Ellie, you're frozen, but
Nelly,
nobody
you're
is.
frozen.
Bev is frozen.
No,
No. she's
or at least
moving.
not on my end.
One of my
Kathy's
favorites.
on both.
Okay, I'm bumping out.
Some of
Let
our
it
board
go.
members have
Yes,
died in the
right?
last 5 minutes, so. It's really not that unusual that they would be stationary.
I thought I was the mentally ill one.
Nancy, are you in Oregon?
Nellie, you look like you're maybe frozen. Are you stuck or not?
Nellie's frozen.
Yeah, Nellie's
Okay.
frozen.
Well, it's 2:00. And so hopefully Nellie's gonna become unfrozen. We know she's here.
Maybe she's just-
So we'll open the meeting anyway, call to order. And Beth, could you read the roll call, please? Because you're the new secretary, remember?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Do I have a
Oh,
list?
oh.
Okay, see if I can remember who's on the board.
No, 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 I'll,
You know, I can do it.
I'll read it. I'm the assistant secretary.
That's right.
Okay, that's,
We're crying out
I'm
loud.
going,
In
I
front of
officially
you.
appoint
Kathy
my
Bachelor?
assistant to take
Here.
over.
Andy English,
Here.
Nellie Johnson, here.
We know she's here.
Beth Dingman, here.
Here.
Bart Hillier, here. Steve Reynolds,
Here.
here. Dave Barker.
It's in Dave.
Let's see, Dave. Marge Garnell,
Here.
Bev Wallace. You're here.
Here.
Lanny Smith,
Oh, Lanny's still in France. He had sent me an email to remind me that he wouldn't be at the meeting.
Jody Walker,
Here.
and Scott Summers.
Here.
Okay. Amendment or approve the agenda. I'd like to make an amendment because yesterday at the Board Affairs Committee, we did not get to finish the guest pass policy, so I'd like to remove that from the agenda today. In fact, I would make a motion. I need a
A second.
Audie,
We're
Jody
not
is-
going to talk about the guest policy?
not today, because we didn't get all the way through it yesterday at BAC.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, thank God, because that was really long and confusing.
Kathy, can I ask which
That's
part
just
we didn't get
right
through?
there.
I'm sorry, say again, Steve.
Can I ask you which part we didn't discuss?
There was a fair amount. We didn't really get into it very much because we had gotten to the point of discussing the temporary wording, but we didn't get into it that much because we took so much time on the bylaw changes. And we were here beyond the 3 o'clock cutoff date.
Cause I was
Well,
listening,
beyond.
I was listening and it went through like almost, well, it would have been 4 o'clock Green Valley.
Yeah.
time. Okay,
Well,
thank you.
So we'll take a look at it at the next work session. And I believe it has to go through BAC again, so because we didn't finish it, we'll go through BAC at their next meeting and then bring it forward on the work session for the board after that.
So that's in October.
That would be October.
Yes.
This is September. Yeah.
Possibly, it might be November.
Okay,
It's
You never
possible it
know.
could be November.
it could be November.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to delete item 4. Could I have a vote on that, please? All in favor, please raise your hand. Looks like unanimous. Thank you.
Boss Nelly.
Well, she had her hand up, the doohickey. Well, I haven't, I can't see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Now I can't see her.
I can't see
Nelly's
Marge.
gone.
And
Yeah,
Marge is
she's
up.
gone.
Marge is up on the left, yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, thank you, Marge.
Do you hear like background music?
Yes,
Outside must be.
that's it.
Oh, they're doing a movie today, aren't
Well,
they?
is it
Are
any
they
good?
doing a movie?
You know, I might not be back.
That's right.
Okay, so then we need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
By motion, we approve the agenda as revised.
Thank you. And a second,
I'll say.
Candy is seconding. All in favor, please raise your hand. I can't see Marge.
I vote yes.
The amended agenda,
She said she's voting.
she's voting yes, okay, so we have
Oh,
a
there's Nelly again.
unanimous.
Nellie's back.
Back.
What is it, Bart? Is it a movie?
Well, Tim Burton is the primary writer of it, whatever it is, so that's all I need to know.
Oh,
He never made a good movie in his life.
Recording in progress.
you're back, Nellie, you're moving.
Am I echoing? Am I echoing?
Yeah, we can hear you too.
Progress.
Okay,
Horrible.
so at this time, we're gonna go with number 3, the Board Affairs recommended bylaw changes for 2026 ballot. Candy, do you want to start? And then if you want, Scott can take over from there.
Oh, okay.
Or if you want him to do it, you let us know.
Well, I can intro it and give it over to Scott, but basically, the Board Affairs Committee yesterday worked on this, as we talked earlier, over an hour. What we did is we took like each section separately and then voted on each section. And we thought that worked best. But no, that is still up for discussion when we talk about it here in our work session. Okay, Scott. I pass to you.
Well, thank you. So, Nancy, thank you for updating
Yes, thanks, Nancy.
from yesterday. She put together this memo, I think, last night, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
The changes, and there was really only, I think, one change from what was recommended, and that was under term limits. There was a motion under term limits to leave the language as it is, except to change the last sentence as follows: a former director may be re-elected after 3 or more years absence from the board. The current language is 1 year or more absence from the board. The original recommendation was to remove the term or the word consecutive, so that any board member who served 2 terms wouldn't be able to serve any longer than that. So that was the BAC's recommendation, is to allow board members or members to serve more than 2 terms, but there has to be a gap of 3 years between those, the 2 terms.
Are
Or
we
after
gonna
the two.
do this?
After the
one at
2
a
terms,
time?
thank you. I think we can, sure, whatever you want to do. It's probably easiest. Any comments or questions about term limits?
I would just like to bring up when our discussion yesterday, because most of the board members were not in attendance. The board source, our prior contract, we may still have a contract, I'm not sure, with Alexander Carrillo. They had indicated to us on the last paragraph on page 3 that that board source recommends board adopt term limits. Regular turnover among board members encourages the board to pay attention to its composition, helps to avoid stagnation, offers opportunities to expand the board's circle of contacts and influence, and provides a respectful and efficient method for removing unproductive members. 71% of nonprofit boards have term limits for board members, and the most common are 2 consecutive 3-year terms. And I would just like to bring that up with regards to this board. The discussion yesterday, the people felt that 3 years in between was good enough, but I'm still supporting the term limits, and I wondered if we could discuss it here as a board. So that I'm sure everybody understands where this is going. Do we have any other comments from anybody?
So we're gonna have the same discussion we had yesterday?
Pretty much.
I thought,
I'm gonna go outside just for a moment and scream.
yeah, because I thought it was approved to move it
It's
forward.
recommended by that committee, but
Okay.
the board can always take a different position.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
And what
that.
I'm
Thank you for
saying
telling
is that
that.
most of the board members were not there
Okay,
yesterday.
gotcha.
Yeah, just to clarify in terms of process, the committees make recommendations to the board. The board can accept that recommendation or amend the recommendation any way it chooses.
And we're not voting today, just to remind everybody, we're
Correct.
not voting today. This is just for discussion. Bev, I think that's Bev.
Oh.
Bev
I,
Lawrence.
I strongly feel that we should have term limits, no more than 2 3-year terms at all. I've seen history of what happens when you allow somebody to be on the board indefinitely, and a year off in between doesn't really make any difference. There's too much control. There are changes that should maybe happen that don't happen because they're still in control. I feel very strongly that, I mean, it doesn't matter if they're off 3 years or not. 6 years is enough for anybody.
Beth?
No, it was, Steve was up next.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes,
Steve,
Steve.
go ahead.
Thank you, Kathy. I don't really understand why we would have a 3-year period where someone would have to stay out. I think two successive terms is enough. And I have another thought about consideration for partial terms. Like in this situation, Beth was appointed to a 1-year term, and Jody was appointed to a 2.5-year term. So is Beth going to be penalized for accepting a 1-year term where she can't serve her full 6 years? Have we considered possibly using a 1.5 or 2-year threshold of an appointed term and count that as a full term? Whereas in this situation, Beth would have an exemption and then she could run again for a full term. So I don't know if that's been discussed. I know it's not in the current bylaws, but it just doesn't feel like we're being fair to Beth in this situation because she accepted a shorter term. I just wanted to throw that out for discussion, see what people think about it.
Okay, are you aware at this particular point, Steve, what is in effect would be, yes, Beth is being penalized because she accepted, to fulfill the rest of this year for April when she went out. Beth was next on the list. So according to the rules in the CPM, the next person on the list is the one that is asked to fulfill that position. Beth and I did have that discussion before she accepted it because I wanted her to understand the way the rules are right now. That's what would take place. And so then I guess you took April.
I took April's,
Yeah, she
yeah.
took Barbara's. I'm
Barbara,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry. She
Yeah.
took Barbara Blake's position.
We understand.
So that's just how it falls, the way that's written right now, Steve. There could be a discussion on that if you wanna start that discussion. We didn't discuss that yesterday, did we, Scott? I don't recall
No,
it.
No.
No,
it was
we
mentioned,
didn't
but we
discuss that at
didn't.
all.
Yeah, okay. So it's something you could, discuss. But I don't know how we would go about changing it or how you would recommend changing it to something else.
Well, you'd have to change the wording, right? And since we're changing the wording now for term limits,
Right,
if we agreed on accepting a change in partial terms that apply to a full term, it seems like now would be the time to do that.
I'm trying to think.
Beth has it.
Beth? Did you? We're gonna come back to you, Steve, but let.
No, I think that's an interesting suggestion, Steve. But and I wouldn't be opposed to that as a possible change, but like you say, we can change this any way we want to change it. But in the difference between two terms, and I would say not necessarily consecutive, I would say, and director is limited to 2 terms, as opposed to 2 terms with then a 3-year hiatus. I think we should get rid of that totally and just say limited to 2 terms. And if you want to change it so that if you're doing less than a year, then that you might be eligible for another election. That I personally wouldn't be opposed to that. But I do really think we just need 2 terms. No running again after 3 years or anything. And those 2 terms could be either consecutive or not consecutive. That would be my point of view anyway.
Did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so the language currently does say, no director may serve more than 2 consecutive terms, including time served as an appointed director. You would simply put that on the ballot to remove that language so that it didn't include time served as an appointed director. So you could change it to no director may serve more than 2 consecutive full terms or something like that. We could wordsmith it, but I think the gist is the last part of that sentence would need to be removed because it simply says right now, including
Right.
time served as an appointed
Clearly.
director.
It clearly says that.
Art?
You call on me, thank you.
Yep.
I'll make the same observation today that I made yesterday. I have a strong feeling that we're fixing something that isn't busted. I have not, in the time that I've been on the board, which is coming up on 5 years, I haven't myself observed anything that I would describe as a serious negative consequence from the rule that's been in place for all these years. And I think in the time that I've served on the board, if I remember right, there have been, that I can identify, there have been 3 board members who served more than 2 terms. And those 3 were, well, Marge is one, I think. Carol Crothers is another, and Donna Kuhn. So, you know, those are the 3 board members that I've known and worked with who were serving more than 2 terms. And all of them were great board members. So, and I wouldn't object if any of those, you know, ran again and got on the board again. They were good board members in the past, and I'm sure they would be good board members in the future. So, you know, we have a form of term limits already. That's the limitation that if you serve 2 consecutive terms, you have to wait at least a year until you can run again. And the proposal is to expand that 1 year to 3 years. You know, two terms of 3 years and then another 3 years on top of that. I mean, that's 9 years. There's a good chance that in Green Valley, you know, such a board member would croak before he or she could run for the 3rd term. So I go back to it. I don't know that there is tremendous point in tinkering with what we've got already. You know, the recommendation from this consultant, we talked about this before. These consultants deal almost exclusively with 501c3 organizations. We are not a 501c3 organization. You know, one of the reasons that 501c3s often need to get fresh blood on the board, the biggest reason, is fundraising, because 501c3 boards do a lot of fundraising. That's one of the expectations of board members on 501c3 boards. You're going to do some fundraising. We don't have that consideration here with a 501c4. So my inclination is we have a form of term limits already. I doubt that we're going to improve the quality of board members by making any changes to it. Thanks.
Nellie, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, I want to support what the majority of the BAC members voted yesterday. And the intent of it was to acknowledge the fact that we're an elected board by our 14,000 members. And the break allows us to bring new people on, but it also acknowledges the power of the people to elect who they want to elect. So if it doesn't ban people after 2 terms, but it says there could be a break. So it was a compromise that I think is a good policy change.
Mm-hmm. Marge, you had your hand up.
I did. I have a question. When I was on the board, when I first came here, there was one board member who would serve 2 terms and then he'd come back a year later. And by the time he was done, he had at least 8 years, if not more, on the board. So I do understand where you want to make this 3 years. I disagree with if I take a position on the board and there's only 1 year left, then I've used up my chance to run for the board. So I think that has to stand the way it is. And just if you want to change it from 1 to 3, we have a decent chance of getting that approved by the members.
Okay, Jody.
Okay, I like what we did yesterday. Well, what you guys did yesterday with the 3 years. I like that. That gives a little bit of a break. I am afraid by limiting to just 2 terms. Right now, we've had a good slew of candidate prospects. You don't know in the future, you're always going to have 6 or 7. We had what, 11 2 years ago? This year, we only had 7. We might only have 3. And if you limit that, you could be limiting somebody that might want to come back after 3 years. And we just don't know the future, because a lot of the younger people, the end of the baby boomers, don't want to give up their precious time. And I'd rather stay with the 3-year break in between.
Well, I'm leaning, I don't want to make this, I can appreciate what Bart is saying, but I don't want to make this about the individuals in the past who have run again after a one year layoff, because I don't think that's fair to everybody. I don't want it to be about the individual. I want it to be about the board positions, because I think that their statements to us were apropos in that it opens up our contacts and our influence with other board members or with other members. But I think we have to remember that all of us go through people who come up and say, well, who should I vote for? That makes it individual, getting the numerous people well, because they don't know who to vote for. Well, so-and-so told me to vote, so that's who I'm voting for. So I think that's one of the things that I would like to get away from. We only have a certain percent of people who will vote for board members anyway. And I think, we're getting more and more, hopefully, we got a lot of new people that applied this last year. And I thought it was excellent. I mean, I even stood up in front of my singles club and said, don't ask me who to vote for, because I would be proud to vote or to serve on the board with any one of the people who are running this year. And that's the first time I've been able to say that in the 10 years I've been involved with GVR. So I would like it to be open to those that say, yeah, now it's really open. You can only serve a certain amount of time. So nobody's going to pressure you to be this, that, or vote this way or that way, because you're going to have your own opinion. That's what I'm after, is somebody who has their own opinion, regardless of what other people say. I really do think it's important. But again, I see Steve's point with regards to people who are only able to serve a portion, because I only served a portion. I served 2 of 3 years of a term. But I'm okay with that. I think that works even with that. So Bev Lawless, I have problems with Bev and Beth, so I'm going to pronounce last names when I call on you. Bev Lawless, go ahead.
I understand what Steve said, and I would agree. I would feel, if it was me that was filling, part of somebody's term and it was only a little bit, I would feel like I was cheated if I really wanted to serve. So I would like to do, if we could limit it to just 2 terms, and then if somebody was filling part of somebody's term, set a time on it. If it's less than a year, don't count it. If it's a year and a half or 2 years, pick a number and say, if it's less than that, then it doesn't count as far as their 6-year limit. If it's over 2 years, then it counts, or over a year and a half, then it counts. Pick a number and go with it, but I still think it should be only 2 terms. And I myself, so I'll be at the end of 6 years soon, and if I took a 3-year leave of absence and came back in 3 more years, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be qualified to be in the board anymore. We're getting older and more forgetful, and it's just the nature of Green Valley. So I think 6 years is plenty, and I like seeing new blood on the board, new ideas, new input, instead of sticking with the same old. That's the way we've always done it. It's not always healthy to do things the way you've always done it. Sometimes change is needed.
I want to make a clarification. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. What we're talking about is 2 terms. We're not saying 2 consecutive terms, if we were to go with the 2 terms. So you might have somebody that runs for a term, takes a year off, and then runs for a second term, or runs for a term and then takes 3 years off and comes back and runs a second term. I thought what we were talking about in the initial setup was 2 terms, not necessarily 2 consecutive terms.
Yeah, that was the initial recommendation, just because that's what some board members had presented and requested for consideration. So the language originally that came out to the BAC removed the word consecutive and left all the other language basically as it was, that essentially no director may serve more than 2 terms, including time served as an appointed director. So clearly all that can be wordsmithed any way the board wants, to either remove the word consecutive or leave the word consecutive, leave 1 year between the end of the two terms or 3 years after the two terms. I'm also hearing people are interested in removing the language that includes time served as an appointed director as one of their terms, or picking a year or an amount of time after 2 years or under 3 years or something like that, where their time as an appointed director would or wouldn't be included. So I do think we need to try to simplify it to make sure that people understand it and that it's very clear to the voters as well as, you know, those of us that are enforcing it.
Beth?
I just want to argue against Bart's point. I really feel strongly that it should be only 2 terms, or if not, if everybody feels that there need to be more time, that it should be 2 terms with 3 years, because if you have 2 terms with 1 year, you've got someone who could do could do 12 of 13 years on the board. And I just feel like that's way too much, way too much. I think 2 terms, and I wouldn't be adverse to putting in language that said if you had less than 1 year, that wouldn't count as a full term. But we definitely, I think, want to have a turnover on the board, and I don't think we want to let anybody be on the board for 12 years out of 13.
Marge?
The only thing I'm listening to what everybody's saying, but my concern would be if someone is going to take a position on the board from someone who quit. Kathy did the same thing I did. You go and you say there's only 1 year left, or there's only 2 years left. Now, in that case, if I said, no, I don't want to take the position, it goes to the next person. So it's not our responsibility with GVR to change the language that says, if you decide to take a 1 year, you can come back and run again. It's your choice, and it would be my choice to say, well, I'm not going to do that because I want to run next year. And so
Yeah.
I don't think we ought to mess with that. I think I agree with the 3 years. I think the committee's right on top of it, putting 3 years in and giving it a 2-term limit. But I just really disagree with this other part.
Okay, Steve?
So Marge, what would happen if no one wanted to accept that 1 year because they didn't want it to count as a full term?
The board would appoint somebody. Yeah, it's in the CPM that the board would take
Yeah.
applications and appoint someone.
You can, Steve, you can always get somebody that will fill out that 1 year. I know, some people just say, yeah, I can do a year, but I'm not going to run. So I'll finish out the year. I don't think that's an issue, but there have been issues, and I think it was before your time, Scott. I'm not sure, but I think so, that we didn't have but 4 openings and 4 people running, or 4 openings and 5 people running. Right. So I think if you lock this thing down too tight, you make it where you just won't have people running. You're going to run into that problem. But the CPM takes care of the other problem. And if Beth, when she came in, if Kathy talked to her and she knew it was only 1 year, she had the, she could say, I think I'll wait because I want to run next year.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah.
So I think if we mess with these too much, you have a chance that people won't vote yes. I'm sorry, it's kind of a political thing, but I mean, if we throw in a couple of changes in a wording here or a wording there, go 1 to 3 years, we're a lot better off than trying to rewrite the whole thing. Just saying.
Thanks, Marge. I don't know. It's a good discussion. I like that. We could leave it, just take the recommendation from the committee yesterday to the board for a vote at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Or we could discuss it again at the next meeting. It's gonna be a motion one way or the other.
Yeah, we're gonna get a discussion on the motion.
Sure. Sure.
Because that's when people's attention is really concentrated, because they're gonna have to
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah,
Okay,
Scott? Hang on, Steve, just 1 second.
I just wanted to add, I think of all the items that are here for consideration, that this is the one that's probably going to generate the most controversy. And as staff, I would anticipate providing really the three options that I've heard discussed for the board to actually vote on. And that would be the BAC recommendation. That would be the original recommendation, and it would be some form of removing the language that includes time served as an appointed director as part of the 2 terms. Those are the 3 things that I've heard that there's interest in discussing and voting on. And, at the end of the day, those 3 options will be considered.
Okay.
And I think it will be an up or down vote on
Okay.
them.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Is that okay? Steve, you still had your hand up. Did you want to speak one more time before we go on?
Well, I was just wondering, I was curious, during a work session, can you take a informal poll to see what people
Yeah,
think
sure.
and whether it's worth moving it forward to the actual meeting? Is that, I don't know if that's.
I don't know that you can do that when we're all together. If you have a quorum, if you take any kind of vote, it's,
I mean, it's not a vote, it's just kind
You
of
have
a
to be
poll
careful.
on
Yeah,
whether
it's
it's
just
of
a straw
interest.
poll.
okay.
Because we have discussed 3 different options, I kind of like Scott's
Yep,
recommendation to bring three options to us at the next board meeting. Would that be okay with everybody?
yep, that's. good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody here too?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
Make a
So
comment.
Candy's gonna make a
Okay,
comment.
Beth, I'm glad you got to talk more today, because I felt like that you had more you needed to say yesterday. And we didn't get to it, so I'm glad you got to express your opinion. And my opinion is similar to Beth's and Bev's, which is 2 terms and that's it, consecutive or not.
Okay,
But that's what I said yesterday.
so we'll ask Scott to bring those three options to us at the next board meeting, and we'll have somewhat of a
cookies.
discussion. And what? Cookies.
Cookies.
Well, I don't know who all's gonna be back, but I think Nellie's gonna be back for the next meeting, aren't you, Nellie?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay, so one more person for cookies. Okay, with that, thank you all for the discussion. I appreciate it very much. So let's move on to the next item that Scott has on the sheet that was sent out to everybody yesterday.
Yeah, elections process. So if you're following along, under elections process, Article 5, Section 2, the word nominating is removed and replaced by the word election. So right now it's called a nominating process. We're recommending, and the BAC recommended, to change it to an elections process. Again, this is largely because of current practice. The nominating committee, at least currently and in previous current years, hasn't nominated candidates, whereas candidates have self-selected and submitted candidate applications. This language that's before you puts that past practice into this existing, into this current language. And similar with B, following a candidate application, if there's interest in running for a board director position, any regular member of the corporation may file a nomination, whereas previously it said make additional nominations by filing a nominations petition. So again, this just brings language into current practice. That's for the elections process A and B. Are there any questions?
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Sure. Great. Crystal clear then, right?
See,
Okay,
Okay, we're not going to talk about the increased check signing authority because the board has already approved putting that on the ballot. The next item is governance and committee reform, Article 8, Section 1. This is the section that identifies which committees, standing committees, the board shall establish. The Board Affairs Committee has recommended maintaining the Board Affairs Committee, the Fiscal Affairs Committee, and the Investment Committee, as well as the ability to establish additional committees which could be identified in the CPM at a later date. So this change would remove nominations and elections and planning and evaluation from the requirement that is listed in the bylaws. Any questions? I know we've talked about it quite a bit. Marge, do you have a question? Your hand is up.
I do. I have a question. Why? I guess I thought we talked at one time about not having a P&E committee because they're doing less and less and because they get into things that maybe they shouldn't
Sure.
So I thought we were gonna eliminate that also.
We did. Maybe I misspoke. So those committees that would be eliminated would be nominations and elections and planning and evaluation.
No, you said that.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's just in the red line as well.
Okay, Marge, we're tracking here. That's exactly what I guess I said.
So the only committees, maybe I have an old copy, but the only committees that would be in the bylaws then would be Board Affairs and of course the Audit Committee.
Fiscal affairs.
Fiscal
Fiscal
affairs,
Affairs
And
investments.
and Investments.
That's it.
Okay, okay, I'm with you. I just thought I saw in there where we were gonna leave P&E and I didn't feel like we should.
Yeah, agree with you 100%. We would transition those duties over to the FAC.
Okay,
Beth?
thank you.
I just have a question, and I'm looking at page 4, and regarding the investments committee, it does say they recommend that they maintain it as a standing committee. But apparently some people thought it should be a special committee because the bylaws say they have to meet at least quarterly. The investment committee has always met at a minimum quarterly, so I'm not sure why that even came up. But it definitely, it's totally separate and different from what they do in fiscal affairs, so it should be kept as a standing committee.
Yeah, and that was
they're changing that, but
And that was the recommendation from the BAC yesterday, was that it remain a standing committee. There was previous discussion about making it a special committee so that there wasn't the requirement that it meet at least quarterly. And after discussions with staff and then the BAC yesterday, there was agreement that it should stay as a standing committee.
Beth, sorry.
So I'm a little, maybe I'm just not reading it correctly. So why aren't we saying the audit committee in the section 1 and then because we talk about it in section 3. And I assume it's a standing committee. It doesn't say one way or the other.
No, in the full bylaws, it is identified as a special committee.
Okay.
So it's not identified as a standing committee, but a special committee.
Okay.
And so there isn't any proposal to change it from its current status as a special committee. It would just remain where it is.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Okay.
Okay.
The next item, Article 8, Section 3, talks about the composition of committees. This is I think a needed change. Currently, committee member appointments are made by the chair of the committee. The recommendation from the BAC and staff is that appointments to committees should be made by the board of directors. There's some interesting, well, not interesting, but good ideas, I think, behind that recommendation. I mentioned yesterday that theoretically and in practice, the president appoints the chair of the committee, and then the chair of the committee appoints the members, which really centralizes the authority of the president, since essentially they're again picking the chair, and then the chairs are picking their members. Whereas these committees really are board advisory committees. They're not president advisory committees or chair advisory committees. They are advisory committees to the board. I think Pat Reynolds made a good point yesterday also, that it sends a message to those members that they actually do work, in fact, for the board and not the chair that appointed them. And I thought that was a good point that she made. So that's the language that has been proposed for section 3. And are there any questions on that recommendation by the BAC? Bev.
I have a question. So I'm looking at page 4, and it says Article 8, Section 3, composition of committees, and it talks about what you just said.
Yeah.
If you look at page 8, it says composition of committees, and it says the chairperson of the audit committee, et cetera, and it's not what you just said. So is what I'm looking at on page 8 the wrong section 3, or what? It's very confusing. It's numbered 8. Actually, at the bottom of the typed page, it says 9, and when you print it out, it comes up as 8. So,
Well,
composition-
section 3, the red line,
mhm.
if we're looking at section 3, composition of committees section, or page 8 is what I have, but
Says the chairperson of the audit committee shall be nominated by the president, blah, blah, blah. And that's
Well,
not what section 3 on page 4 says.
no, the audit committee is separate. That's a different, that has a different appointment process. We're talking just about special committees and composition of committees at this point below that. So the first part, chairperson of the audit committee, this isn't being changed, shall be nominated by the president of the board and the finance director with board approval. The chairperson of each standing committee and other special committees shall be a member of the board nominated by the president. So none of that has changed. The new language says committee members shall be appointed by the board of directors as determined by the process outlined in the CPM. Committee members shall be members of the corporation. The president shall be an ex officio of all committees, excluding the audit committee. It used to be nominations and audit. Now it's just audit, because in theory, we would eliminate nominations and elections. Does that make sense, Bev?
No, I'm afraid I'm not looking at the part that you're reading.
Okay. Well, that's the intent and goal. So where are you looking?
Okay, so when I print this out, when I printed out the packet, there's a small 9 like that's in the center of the page.
Yeah, that's page 9. That would be the bottom of the bylaws page.
Yeah, section 3, composition of committees.
Okay.
And it specifies only the audit committee, which seems like that shouldn't really come under composition of committees. That should be something separate.
I think we are looking at the same thing.
It says the chairperson of the audit committee shall be nominated by the president of the board, but that really has nothing to do with the composition of committees. It's got to do with that committee, but not all of the other committees. So that heading doesn't match the paragraph.
Sure, I get that, but that is existing language. That isn't even being proposed to be changed.
There's red line here.
Yeah, but not in that sentence. That sentence redlined. Yeah, the red line starts down where it says the committee member appointment process is determined by the board policy and may be amended from time to time. Right. That's gone. And it used to say committee members are selected by the chairperson of the committee. That's what's been stricken mostly. That's probably the essence here. There. What?
It's a long story, but I'm picking up on Zoom as soon as I get home.
Well, it won't be the same, but
I know, it's gonna be hard.
More cookies for us. Bye, Bart.
mm-mm. No, I think that's the same. Yeah, the composition of committees, I think it's, the bylaws, current language is just specifically identifying how the chairperson of the audit committee is appointed, since it is a little bit different than the other committees. The other committees, the chairperson of each standing committee is a member of the board and nominated by the president. So Section 3 addresses not only how the audit committee chair is appointed, but also how the chair of each standing committee is appointed. And then the sections that are redlined, whether they are stricken or underscored, talk about a new process, whereas the committee members are appointed by the board of directors as opposed to the chair of each committee.
Mhm.
Bev, we've lost your video.
I think I get it. So the second sentence says the chairperson of each standing committee, they just happen to mention the audit committee in the first one. And the
Right.
second sentence deals with the other committees. Okay.
Correct,
It
correct.
was just so completely different than page 4 that I got really confused.
Sure. Well, hopefully that clears it up.
It's better. Not
Okay.
crystal, but better.
I understand. Well, if you have any follow-up questions, you can give me a call.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay. Section 4, subcommittees. This is housekeeping at this point. This presumes that nominations and elections would cease to exist, so that's why it's stricken from section 4. And then section 5 talks about open meetings, and the new language. Essentially, what it does is it requires all meetings except the audit committee to be open as opposed to closed. Right now, any committee can choose to close their meeting. And as a reminder, the board can only close its meeting for 2 reasons. One is personnel, one is legal. That same requirement isn't applied to committees. Committees, per the existing language, can close for any particular reason. And we had talked in the BAC about how that language doesn't promote transparency. All committee meetings should be open to the membership if in fact the goal is promoting transparency. Other than the audit committee, and I think we left the audit committee as a possibility to close in case there's a concern with the audit, or there's a concern or a question about a staff member, or you'll also be reviewing requests or proposals from various auditors on proposals to become the auditor of the organization, and we wouldn't want to have that conversation in an open meeting because you might be revealing proprietary information. So, any questions? Steve?
I'm curious about the audit committee. So are the meetings open unless it's stated that they're closed?
That's how they're supposed to perform, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Well, regardless, the audit committee would be open to all board members
Oh, true.
Right.
regardless. So it may be closed to the general membership, but it would be open to board members to attend.
Sure. All board members can attend all committee meetings, whether they're open or closed.
Right. Yeah, I
It's
just
time.
wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you. Well, that is it. Those are the recommended changes from the BAC, and as I kind of anticipated, the term limits question is really the only one that it seems is going to require an additional separate vote. So I think for the board meeting, what we will probably do, unless you disagree, is to single out the term limit as one vote item, and then the rest of the changes we would include as one slate to vote to approve those changes or not, rather than taking each section. Does that make sense? Are we okay with that?
Steve has a question. Steve, go ahead.
My creative mind just came up with another question, which is, we're going to have those three choices to talk about and vote on by the board. But would it be possible to list those on a ballot and then have the membership vote, and then the most popular one would pass? Could that happen? Beth,
I mean,
says
a
no.
the board membership or?
No, the
General
General.
membership.
But just on the ballot.
when the general membership voted on the ballot, they could
Oh.
choose one of the three, and then the most popular would become the new bylaw. I'm just curious on whether we could actually do that.
I think you can do that. Absolutely, but I would double check with the attorney. The board recommends what goes onto the ballot. And so in this case, the board wouldn't really be making a recommendation on which of the three it preferred. It would simply recommend that that question go before the membership, and then the membership would decide on which of the three it chooses. But I think you could do that legally. I would double check with the attorney, but I think if the board wants to do that, you can do that.
Okay, well, it may not be a factor I just was curious whether that would work. All right, thank you.
But we could still have that as during the discussion at the board meeting, Steve,
Okay.
when he brings the three options.
So is that a fourth option that Scott brings to us? It's like.
You're
option
correct.
1, 2, 3, and
Yeah.
then the fourth option is to put it on the ballot as you just suggested.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That would be the fourth option. Oh, the fifth would be to leave it as it is.
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh.
Would be to
So
talk
maybe-
about it again next
Check
meeting.
And maybe we're making it too complicated.
I know,
Many choices.
but yeah, we'll try to be as clear as possible on this one, and I'll reach out to the attorney on that one to make sure that it's even a possibility before asking you to vote on it. Anything else? All right, well, my work is done.
But we don't have any members here. Do you have any questions, or can you see any questions, Scott, that members might have?
No questions.
No questions? Okay, well, at this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
Jody, and a second?
We're not discussing the guest policy here, or?
No, we took that off the, I'm sorry, we took that
She
off
was
the
frozen,
agenda.
I
Was
think.
she frozen?
Yes, she was.
I'm sorry, Nellie.
It's okay. it's okay.
Because we didn't get all the way through it yesterday at the BAC. It's coming back to BAC next month, and then we'll come to the board after that. It's not as important as getting this ballot stuff set up. So I made a motion to delete it from the agenda.
Okay, I
and
missed that. Okay. All
Okay,
right, thank you.
sorry, I am sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay. Do I have a second anyway? I didn't see anybody. Oh, Bev. Thank you, Bev. Otherwise, we're going to continue sitting here for hours. Okay, everybody in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand. Thanks, everybody, for checking in today. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kathy. Thanks,
Less
Scott.
than an hour.
It's,